So this book and this project rely heavily on the power of stories. And they actually look at stories or use that power of stories in three specific ways. The first is the act of speaking your story, of actually sharing your story with others. So we found that both for ourselves, for Amy and myself, when we first started talking about burnout and overwhelm and sharing our own experience with each other, that had a powerful way of unlocking what needed to come next, or what might be a response to that. For our co-contributors, many of them remarked that they had not shared their story of burnout with anyone or with very few people. So the fact that they came into the project, into the research, and shared their stories with us was already sort of an unlocking or a release, if you will, of something that needed to be shared. They also found that sharing that story with strangers, Amy and I were relative strangers to most of our co-contributors, and they were, of course, strangers to each other in the co-inquiry, in the community inquiries that we ran for 6 weeks. We had people sharing their stories with people that they'd never met before, which was liberating in two ways, in the sense of sharing the story at all and of getting feedback and support from others who are completely alien to their experience, free of judgment, free of any kind of baggage because they might work for the same organization, etc. So the act of sharing your story is very important in the project and in the book. The second aspect is connecting people through the power of stories. And that is developed in the book to some extent. We cite other research that shows how stories are one of the ways that humans have been able to evolve and construct the world that we have, for better and for worse sometimes. But galvanizing people around a story, around a fiction, is one of the ways in which humans have advanced our society, our companies, our cultural practices. All of that revolves around creating a fiction or a story that you can then get people to move and move in the same direction. And then finally, there's the crafting of stories. So we've relied on stories to tell the story, if you will, and we have created evocative stories, so semi-fictionalizing or entirely fictionalizing many of the stories, of the cases that we learned about through our co-contributors. We have told those stories in a way that is engaging, that is hopefully memorable, and that brings people into the book in a way that we find is more connected to how we process information. So we do share sort of information up front and as an analysis of what's going on, but we also share those stories in a way that pays attention to the craft of storytelling.